Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, we got the weekend schmacks coming your way, and we're coming your way right on now. Let's give you the top 10 plays on the day. Let's tell you about the injury news for the 6-game weekend slate. And bam, right away, we got the projections for the early games. Bam, we're not going to cover them right now because I don't want to be covering them right now. There's not no nice slates. What kind of English is this? That's that broken English. There's not no nice slates out there for them one-game solo slates. I'm not playing them, but if you want to use them for prize picks, over-under, things like that, we'll have the projections for the early slates. But let's tell you the top 10 schmacks of the day, starting with the number 10 play on the day today. That is going to be one, Mr. Jordan Clarkson. Now, let's look at this. If you are a game log watcher, you're going to say, oh my God, $6,500 Jordan Clarkson, you want to play him? He's been so bad even with Donovan Mitchell out. Well, obviously, you're just looking at small things and you're not looking at the right things. Yes, in the last two games without Donovan Mitchell, 32 and 28 minutes, those are the right things. You see in the minutes. 14 and 18 shot attempts, those are decent things. We want to see 20-plus shot attempts, but that's still fine. And he's scoring 30 and 31 fantasy points. We clearly want him to be around 35 to be paying off in GPP lineups. But the big thing is, last time out, he shoots 39%. And in the last two games, so let's add up those minutes, 60 total minutes of play, Jordan Clarkson in the last two games without Donovan Mitchell, only 2 combined assists, no combined steals, no combined blocks. He's not picking up peripheral stats. That's going to change. So you're getting the minutes out of him. You're getting decent shot volume. 18 last time out was very good. You're just not getting anything other than that. You're not getting good shooting, and you're not getting any peripheral stats. That is clearly going to change. Jordan Clarkson, if we go to the double box, that's right, the double box right here, schmack you with this one, how you doing? If we go to the double box with Jordan Clarkson, plays the most minutes. This is filtered by minutes on Add More Funds. Plays the most minutes with Mr. Donovan Mitchell off the court, averages 1.16 fantasy points per minute. So what he's been doing recently is well below that, because if you're going to give Jordan Clarkson 30 minutes of play, which he can definitely play more than that, at 1.16 fantasy points per minute, he's going to average usually around 35 fantasy points. So we're getting Jordan Clarkson right now doing everything we want in terms of a opportunity standpoint, shots and overall minutes. He's just not landing them. Everything is going to come together for this guy, and he's going to have a real 35 to 40 plus point upside like he averages on the entire season. Not just the last 60 minutes. No, if you're just looking at those last 60 minutes, you're making a mistake. I'm talking about the last 820 minutes on the season without Donovan Mitchell on the court. So there you go. There's your first schmack on the day. I hope you're having a lovely day today. Happy National Pigs in a Blanket Day. Not my kind of thing, but happy National Kiss of Hope Day. Ready for this? This one's for you on the podcast with your earballs. There's your kiss of hope. There's your kiss of hope right there. Hopefully you're going to have a nicer day because of that. And let's get you one more. Let's hit you with one more National Calendar Day today. National Pool Opening Day. My pool opened like last week. We didn't have it all of last year because of COVID. I had to still pay the motherfucking amenities fee for no COVID, no clubhouse, no anything. I didn't get anything, and I was paying $50 a month for an amenities fee. Apparently it was in my contract. I need a lawyer. If you're a lawyer out there, hit me up. Give me my $50 back. Give me my fun coupons back. But now we're going to maybe go to the pool. It's supposed to rain today, but maybe we can take advantage of that. So if you got a pool anywhere near you, if you have a public pool, I'd say hold off on that shit. Public pool's got to be the worst place. Like there's like Walmart, then there's like the emergency room at midnight, and then there's like public pools, just like the worst places to be. You're just dealing with a shit ton of germs and a shit ton of people you don't want to be around. But enjoy the National Calendar Days. We'll give you the next top 9 plays. Like, subscribe, do those things. Last night I wasn't feeling well. I don't know, something in the food I ate. I don't know if it was just in terms of like not getting enough sleep lately. Got a lot of sleep last night. Wasn't feeling well, so we didn't go live. But we can plan to go live at 5 p.m. East Coast time later today. So like, subscribe, notification bell. Massive UFC fight later today. Maybe I'll go live in the afternoon as well for that one. But we already have some content out for that, and projections, tools, optimizer on Patreon, all that. The number 8 play on the day today, as we still have no Zach LaVine out there, the number 8 play on the day today is going to be Coby White. Now, there is some injury news. John Wall is out, and Christian Wood is not expected to play. So Houston's wide open. Sabonis is out, and there's a lot of other guys questionable there. Goga Badeas, Doug McDermott has some big players down low that can open up more minutes for O'Shea Brissett, who your boy popped off for 50 points last time out. And some smaller things to keep an eye on: Maxi Kleber, KCP. I guess Kristaps Porzingis to an extent is not smaller, but Coby White at $5,900. And here's the thing: it's a 6-game slate. If this was an 8 to 10 game slate, Coby White doesn't make this list. And later today, based on news, Coby White might not make this list after I update my final projections. But Coby White, the price point is coming up, and it's coming up because he's playing well. He was 54, 5,500, and we were all over him, and we enjoyed playing him. Now, there's still no Zach LaVine out there, and Coby White plays the most minutes on this team. If we pull it up on the double box, the most minutes on this team with no Zach LaVine on the court, 653, and he's averaging about 0.95 fantasy points per minute. Now, lately, he's been playing about 30 to 32 minutes, which basically will project him out for around 29 to 32 fantasy points, which at 5,900 is good but not great, but that's clearly not taking into account the player's ceiling, 25% assist percentage. So Coby White right now barely inside the top 10. Any value or news pops him out, but he's just a solid play today. He's not elite, but his ceiling can get him there to the 40-point range. He's just a solid play, because what you're seeing out of Coby White lately is really good shooting, and that's not worrisome, right? But that's not sustainable. He has shot 70 and 50% over the last 2 games, which is fine, but we're going to need him to do a little bit more in the assist department with that 25% assist percentage. So Coby White, the number 9 play on the day. day today. The number 8 play is just a man who continues to be on this list. Like every single time that we're going to do this list until they make him $4,500 or so, it's going to be Daniel Tice, who is coming up in price point. He's not in the 3K range anymore. He's $4,000 flat, but it's hard not to like Daniel Tice, who's averaging around 0.85 fantasy points per minute and who has been starting lately and just playing 25 plus minutes. Like when you're going to start at the power forward spot, and you're going to be locked into 25 plus minutes of play as a decent producer, it's hard not to like you on a smaller slate. Assuming he starts today, I give him 25, 26 minutes of play. I give him 0.85 fantasy points per minute, and he's grading out for 21 or 22 fantasy points as a solid value. Not the best value on the slate. We'll get to some better values or some nicer options or other potential options, but he's still a solid option for you. For a man seeing a 17% usage rate on this team and an 18% defensive rebounding rate to go along with easy shot attempts close to the basket, Daniel Tice is the number 8 play on the day today. Now, our number 7 play is going to be a little bit dependent on if Anthony Davis gets more minutes, and if he's out, even better for Mr. Andre Drummond, the number 7 play on this slate. But before we get into it, you know what time it is. We're going to be talking about the sponsor of the program today, PrizePicks. So a lot of people had success yesterday on PrizePicks. We're coming off of what I would say is the last 14 days or so being very, very strong and productive for PrizePicks for the people coming into our community via PrizePicks. PrizePicks is an over-under. It's very simple. Over-under on assists, rebounds, points, different types of sports. You can take other types of props. I like to hang out in the fantasy points department since I project fantasy points and think I have an edge there. So there is some PrizePicks for the earlier games, depending on when you're watching this, the 1 o'clock games and things like that. We'll have projections on Patreon to help you out. But for the later games today, there's going to be about 30 or 40 props. Early on in the morning, they have limited props, but I'm going to be taking the over on Nikola Vucevic, who for me gets extra points on PrizePicks for a block. And for me, I have him in that 46 fantasy point range, plus the extra points for blocks gives him more upside. So I'll take the over on Nikola Vucevic. I'm going to actually take the under on Zion Williamson. Now, Zion's been somebody who's been playing fantastic lately, but I think he's playing a little bit too out of his mind with how healthy this team is right now, right? Obviously, no Josh Hart for the year, Alexander Walker for the year likely, but they still have Lonzo now getting healthier, playing his bigger minutes, and Brandon Ingram playing as good as he has probably all season long. And when that happens and you have peak price Zion at like $10,000 plus on DraftKings, and Zion, who projects out for me today for like 44 fantasy points, yeah, I'll take the under when it's like a 5-point difference. So the under on Zion, the over on Nikola Vucevic. You can follow this when you use the link in the description below on the podcast, YouTube, wherever you're watching this, and you use the code SAL when you sign up. They'll match you up to $100. So if you want to take these props, you want to get a little bit, simplify your way of playing DFS, you don't want to play a whole lineup today, or you want to get more exposure down, use that link, use the code SAL. Whatever money you put in up to $100, they'll double it for you. So if you put in $20, bang, now you have $40 in your account, all the way up to $100 Ruskies. Take the over on Vooch, take the under on Zion, and then watch later today in the live stream and in the Discord, our PrizePicks Discord, to see what other options potentially pop up for you. Bam, there's your schmacks for the day right there. Your top 7 play right now is going to be Andre Drummond at $7,500. Now, here's the thing. We said this literally 2 weeks ago. Andre Drummond was in the 6K range, and people didn't want to play him because they were worried about his minutes. And I said, oh, you better go get yourself some Andre Drummond because he's going to be a $7,000 to $8,000 player pretty damn quick. And now, after scoring over 46 fantasy points in 2 out of his last 3 games, the only game he doesn't, he shot 25% in that game and got into foul trouble. Andre Drummond now is getting the minutes. 30, 28, and 31 in the last 3 games. If I can comfortably project a 1.4 fantasy point per minute producer for 28 to 30 minutes of play, it's a wrap. It's a wrap where Kristaps Porzingis is potentially questionable, even better down low. It's a wrap where if you see no Anthony Davis potentially today, who I only expect to play 16-ish minutes anyways, it starts to become very appealing for Andre Drummond today. He'll start to project out at $7,500 for the upper 30s to low 40s in fantasy points, and that's clearly a very nice option for you. The number 6 play in the day is going to be Luca Dantic on the opposite side of that game. Look, Luca's found it. There was kind of bad shooting, not high shot volume, right? You were getting like 16 shots a game a couple weeks back, and then he just wasn't getting rebounds. And I thought Luca was injured because he wasn't having as many touches in those games, and he was kind of just laying low in those games, right? You were getting Luca Dantic, a man who usually goes for 50 to 60 points, consistently scoring you in the mid to low 40s for about a week and a half straight. And now Luca's back to normal. Luca's back to getting the high shot volume. He's had 20 or more shots, 21 or more shots in 3 straight games. He's basically averaging 9 rebounds per game over the last 2 weeks, and he's getting you back there with the assists, 9, 19, 9, and 8. So Luca's back in the full swing of things, and it looks even better for Luca if I can project him for like 1.55 fantasy points per minute. It looks even better, of course, if there's no Kristaps on the court today. They have a nice team total of 109.25 as well. So Luca Dantic at $11,000 flat. You have a couple of pay-up options today, right? You have about 5 guys above at or above $10,000. Dantic would be my favorite, and the point guard, shooting guard eligibility is what makes him really appealing. All those other guys are basically centers. Like you have Zion as a power forward guy, but Towns, Jokic, and also Vooch, they're all centers. So you get a lot more flexibility with Luca as your pay-up option. You get to put him in 5 lineup spots, whereas those other centers you can only put in the center utility spot, 2 spots. So it just makes your lineup a lot more flexible, a lot more different ways that you can go and get unique with it. The numero 5, Cinco de Mayo is actually coming up now that I think about that. Not too bad. Cinco de Mayo, like a week or 2 away. We're going to have a lot of fun, right? I don't know if you like tequila out there. I never really had it this past weekend. Now I like tequila. Just way better. It's like the classier version of taking shots of vodka. I don't really take shots all that much when I party animals, but you know, COVID ending, the summer coming, we're probably going to be taking a couple shots here and there on the beach. So now we got Cinco de Mayo coming up, so not a bad time. The cervezas, of course, your boy likes cervezas, so If you don't know, that's beer. Come on, get your Spanish game up. Your boy graduated from Spanish 4 in high school. One of 6 people to get all through 4 years of Spanish. Fucking don't remember a single thing from that class, though. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But the number 5 play in the day is going to be Deangelo Russell. We saw it. We finally saw it. There's some people saying, Sal, why are you only projecting Deangelo Russell? They said that his minutes limit is going to be upwards of 30. Why are you only still giving him 26? Because upwards of 30 means a max of 30, and it still means that he could play below 30. And what happened when that happened? He played 25. And oh yeah, he still hasn't played 30. But then he played 29 minutes. And then I said to myself, okay, now I'm believing this. So he scored 42 and 38 fantasy points in the last couple of games. Now, let's get it twisted, right? Let's not get it twisted, I should say. I'm not projecting for 40 fantasy points today. Like, he shot 10 of 13. He shot 77% and 75% on the 20th against Sacramento when he only played 25 minutes. But now we're getting the minutes back. So I'm not waiting the good shooting. That's going to come down. But we're getting the minutes back, and we're seeing the assists go up with those minutes going up. So it's the Deangelo Russell show. Deangelo Russell is normally, when he gets his minutes, and he plays like 34, 35, 36 minutes when healthy, but when he gets his minutes, he's normally like an $8,000 plus player, right? And now he's at 6,400, and there's a good chance he could play 30 plus minutes today. So for Russell, a 1.19, and yes, you heard that correctly, 1.19 is elite. It's elite fantasy point per minute production for a $6,400 player seeing minutes. I will be taking him at this price point. I like him a lot. I kind of want to get him higher, but there's just better plays on the slate today. And you get the shooting guard eligibility. Go get yourself some D-Lo in your lineups today. Number 4 on the slate today is Mason Plumlee. Just see if he plays. He's been resting and having these weird times lately where he's not playing, but he's priced right now. Like, Isaiah Stewart has been playing as a starter like 3 or 4 games in a row because Plumlee has been out. Like, one of those games Plumlee played, and oh yeah, he scored 40 plus fantasy points. But now they are pricing Stewart much more expensive, and here's the interesting thing. He's much more expensive, and they're pricing Plumlee as if he's like the backup center. Plumlee is going to play at least 25 minutes, likely 27 to 28 minutes if he indeed starts today, in a matchup against Indy, who does not have Sabonis, who does not have Miles Turner, who might not even have other guys out there like Goga, Doug McDermott today, so just no bigs out there. And now you get Plumlee at just $4,900. Like, Plumlee is a 1.09, so 1.1 fantasy point per minute producer, averages 27 minutes per game on the season. What you're getting right there is a guy who's going to come out here and be projecting out for me for 28 to 30 plus fantasy points at just $4,900. So a clear and obvious value for you as long as he is playing today. A Mason Plumlee for me should be about $1,000 more today. You're getting a very good price if you can snag some Mason Plumlee with the number 4 play on the day spot for us today. Now, inside the top 3, and you're going to see a name, you're going to say, who the fuck is Armani Brooks? And we'll tell you who Armani Brooks is right after I tell you about Patreon. No better time to get into Patreon than right now. You got UFC 261 today. You got some Masters coming up for the PGA, MLB and NBA projections and tools and ranks every single day. The optimizers, all those schmacks, the Discord access, lots of stuff. Here's the goal, right? You're out there right now. Some people were commenting yesterday in the video like, hey, yeah, you know what? You're right. I've been on these videos all the time, and I actually want a little bit of a nudge to join Patreon. So here's your nudge. Here's your shove even, right? A lovely brotherly shove. Like, you're wrestling in the room. You're like, I love you, man. Right? There's your shove right there. You come into Patreon, you try it out, you see what's up. The whole goal of it is to reduce you out there right now, the viewers, reduce your research time while also increasing, right? You're trying to outsource your time. You outsource your time to me. You outsource your time to Vetri Media, to the Patreon. We give you all the tools and benefits, increases your chances of winning, and you also get to be in a nice community. We were talking to the Discord yesterday. My man, who I don't know if his name is Sal as well, if he just put Sal because he's in the Sal Discord, but my man was just sending videos of him making these amazing, like, just fire pizzas outside, and he was showing us all these other stuff. He was like a culinary degree, so I said, yo, like an actual thing to do in like maybe 3 or 4 months once all this COVID things is over, we get some pizzas, we get some brewskis, we get a couple of guys and girls to meet up in person from the Patreon Discord as like an extra benefit, right? And we just make that food, or he makes that food, or we help him make that food, and then we do some drafts, right? We hang out for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, we do some drafts, and we do that stuff. Sounds like a pretty fun time to me. We could work out the logistics, but those are just the types of things that I want to do to increase just the community reach, right? To make it more than just like an internet thing, to actually make it something that you come in person, and there's actually some friend groups coming out of this, right? So, and if you don't want that out of it, then just don't fucking do the in-person things. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities, especially with the world getting back to normal. So come on into Patreon. That was a long-winded way of saying it's an awesome community, and it's only getting better. And this is just during the NBA season. It's going to be fucking crazy when the NFL season starts back up. Link down below. What are you waiting for? So Armani Brooks is the number 3 play in the day. And here's the thing with Armani Brooks. He's the only current point guard on the roster today for the Houston Rockets. And I was going to say the Houston Texans right there. The only current point guard. Why is that? John Wall's been ruled out today. Kevin Porter Jr. is still on the COVID list as of right now. DJ Augustine's getting an MRI, and Dante Exum has been nowhere to be found. They don't even have shooting guards who can control the point. Maybe you can say Avery Bradley can control the point. I would say I don't think so. They don't have David Nwaba. They don't have Eric Gordon, right? They have nobody out there today. Armani Brooks is going to have to play minutes, and he's already been playing minutes. In the last 2 games, 35 and 30 minutes. And here's the thing. You might be saying, I only scored 15.5 and 26.5 fantasy points. Okay, in those games, he wasn't as ball dominant because John Wall was out there. And the other thing, he shot 2 of 11, so 18%. That's terrible. I don't care how bad you are. You're going to be shooting at least 25 to 30% as an NBA player. And then he shot 3 of 8, so 37%. Armani Brooks today is just going to have to play 30 plus minutes. They're down so many bodies. They're also down Christian Wood in the rotation. So Armani Brooks, we're not going to get a good sample, right? Like none at all. This guy's barely played this season. You're going to get 42 minutes out of Armani Brooks so far in the season with all these guys off the court, and he averages 0.8 0.89 fantasy points per minute, which is a good fantasy point per minute production. If you're going to play 30 minutes at this cheap of a price point, you'll grade out in the mid-20s for me. The problem is it's a 42-minute sample. But this is just to show you that there's just so many guys out on this team today. Like if I was to actually take off everybody who's going to miss today, like Augustine and David Nwama and McLemore is not even on the team anymore. If I was to take all these guys off the court, we just wouldn't even get a sample today. And you might be saying, Sal, well, what about Sterling Brown? Well, Sterling Brown is also supposed to be out today because I think 2 or 3 days ago, he got in some altercation in Miami. So now he's getting like facial surgery. Like I'm not even fucking kidding. This is every single guy who can control the ball on this team is out except Armani Brooks. If you get news that Sterling Brown has made a miraculous recovery and he's doing unbelievable, well then he's obviously going to be a decent play. Or if you get news that you're going to see Kevin Porter off the COVID list, I just right now don't have that news for you. And I'm also not expecting it. So right now as it stands, we're going to be getting Armani Brooks at $3,800, assuming that these other guys are out to play 32 to 34 to 35 minutes today and probably project out for me for around 25, 26 fantasy points at just $3,800. The number 2 play in the day today is going to be one, Kelly Olynyk. So Kelly Olynyk today, the exact same thing, right? He's below $7,000. He's been an absolute fucking monster, averaging on the season over a fantasy point per minute since he's come over to this team in Houston, averaging over 1.1 fantasy points per minute. And Christian Wood is not expected to play after getting hurt yesterday. So he's doubtful, meaning that Kelly Olynyk is going to start at center. Already somebody who's been playing big minutes. Just in that last game alone, Kelly Olynyk came in and finished out the game for Christian Wood, played 34 minutes, scored 47 fantasy points. So if I give Kelly Olynyk 32 to 33 minutes of play today, even 34 minutes, over a fantasy point per minute at this cheap of a price point, he's going to start to project out in the mid to upper 30s for me at just $6,700. Kelly Olynyk, I'm expecting to start at center today. Looks like a very, very strong option. And drum roll, please, as we round it out for all you ladies, gentlemen, and fellas out there for the number 1 play on the day today. So as before we go, like and subscribe. Really, hey, look, there's one person. There's going to be a couple thousand people that watch this, one or listen to this. One person is not subscribed to the YouTube or the podcast version, so just do that. Appreciate that a ton. And notification bell, so when we go live later today. The number 1 play in the day is going to depend on some injury news, specifically with the Pacers today. Is he going to be healthy himself? If he's healthy, then I like him a lot. And that number 1 play on the day is going to be Mr. Goga Bitadze. So it's as simple as this. Goga plays the second most minutes on this team with Miles Turner, and you don't see Sabonis out there, which is going to be the fact today. Now, Goga is questionable, but when he actually plays, he averages, this is nuts, a 1.2 fantasy point per minute projection. Let me blow this up even higher for you. 1.2 fantasy point per minute for Goga Bitadze and 392 minutes of play. What you're getting is a very nice rebounding rate and also a nice usage rate. 19% usage, 19% rebounding rate. Goga Bitadze is an absolute beast when he actually starts. And if he's healthy today and not going to be out, he's questionable. So if he's probably at the end of the day, he's going to be playing for you probably around 26 to 28 plus minutes, averaging well over a fantasy point per minute and being an elite and strong play for you at this current price point of the low $4,000 range. And this slate starts to become difficult because you have Goga if he's healthy, Kelly Olynyk, Mason Plumlee as 3 of my top 4 plays as center only guys. And that is why I like Luca a little bit more up at the top. He gives you more flexibility. And I like the cheaper centers today, which is normally going to be the case. We have Drummond, we have Daniel Tice. There's a lot of cheap centers. Those top 3 are the ones that I like the most today. Mix and match with some other guys. Deangelo Russell looks like a beast if he continues to play and gets around 30 minutes. So those are your top 10 schmacks on the day today. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I encourage you all down below to sign up for Patreon. Get up in there, get up into the community. We'll have the projections for the early games as well as these later games out later today. And then I'll also call out SuperDraft, another sponsor of our program and our business right here. SuperDraft, here's the big thing about SuperDraft. It's Saturday night. It's Friday night with a song. But it's Saturday, and a lot of these contests just normally don't fill. They've been filling at like 55% lately. So I don't know what's going on with SuperDraft, I'll be honest with you, but they've been filling at 55% lately. This is their NBA jump shot tonight. It's linked down below. Use the code SAL. Whatever money you put in, if you put in 25 or more, they'll smack you at $25 free right there. But these contests have been filling at literally like 55% lately. My girlfriend has won a couple of times just because the contests are not filling at all. I'm like, yo, these contests aren't filling. You should play tonight. And she does. I'm not even joking. So what that means is that this contest only fills at 60%. By just entering a lineup, you beat 40% of the field. There's nowhere in DFS, there's nowhere in gambling that you will ever be able to beat 40% of the field just by entering the contest. It's fucking crazy. So use the link down below. Get in here because this is not going to fill today. You might be saying, Sal, it's only $2,000. I don't want to win that. There's somebody out there right now thinking that, oh, that's not $50,000. I'm not playing that because it says $2,000. So if that's you out there, you're too rich. I don't know why you're playing DFS in the first place. I don't know why you're gambling in the first place if $2,000 to you is just nothing. I mean, that's a really nice TV at the very worst. What the fuck are you talking about? Or if you're really filthy rich, that's like a nice breakfast. So $2,000 up for grabs today. The contest is going to come nowhere near filling. This will be your best chance at winning money just because people will not be entering the contest. Use the code SAL in the link below when you deposit for your first time. They'll smack you at $25 if you put in 25 or more. The NBA jump shot is the contest you want to be joining because it's probably going to fill at 50%. I cannot stress that enough. Thank you for tuning in today, everybody. I appreciate you all in advance. I'll see you all in the next one later on today live. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the start of your motherfucking weekend.